Man, I still got this little bit of a of a sore throat. It's not even sore actually. It's just a little raspy, a little like little dirt in your throat. It's not even sore. But let me first apologize to first of all for saying uhs and ums. I don't usually talk like that. Let me first apologize to, I'm on the West Coast right now. I am in Southern California. We are in San Diego. Got here yesterday afternoon, had a great time. Hey, listen, when we were in San Francisco, I told my sons, we're not eating no Mexican food up here. None. I said, we wait until we go to Southern California. We going to San Diego and LA. That's where we going to eat Mexican food. And so we did. So last night I hung with a buddy of mine, former, my man Josh Francis. For those of you who follow Kirk Kennedy, my man Josh Francis and his wife and their kids. We hung out with them last night, had dinner, great tacos, all that great Mexican food. Hanging out with them today. So I'm in San Diego for a couple of days, and I'm in LA the latter half of the week. So I'm glad to be here. So it's good, man. It's good to travel and be somewhere else. We're excited. This Airbnb is way different than the one that we were in. So I'm glad for that. And so I want to apologize, though, to those of you who follow my channel, because I'm normally East Coast. And it's just, so we're 3 hours back, right? So normally when I would post, it's just East Coast time, and that's what people are used to. But a lot of the times where it's East Coast time, I'm doing something. So by the time I get settled, it's, 11, 12, 1 a.m. what East Coast time. I'm like, I can't stream. So I'm going a little early today because we're going to be out all day today. But we got a lot to talk about. This is one of those episodes where, excuse me, because I've been kind of moving and shaking a lot, I haven't been able to stream like I normally would and just throw some thoughts out there. So I got a lot to talk about. So we're going to jump in today. Hopefully you're able to jump on and catch the stream. If not, you can watch it later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We about to get it in. There's a bunch of things that I want to hit in this talk, because I've said some things and things have transpired on the number level. So we're going to hit a number of things. It ain't going to be one area like I normally would. We're going to hit a lot. All right. First things first, welcome to CNN. I'm your underdog, Kirk Kennedy. Let's go in. On this channel, we take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. That's what we try to do, all right? Right now, we are currently at, I think, 3,522. Let's get to 3,550 today. We can do it. Let's get to 3,550 today. We on our road. We're trying to get to 5K. Let's get to 3,550 today. We can get 28 more people. Come on, y'all. We can do it. All right. Let's jump in first. All right. So the last couple of days, I've been hearing stuff like this, which I've heard for years. Candace Owens is braver than most pastors. I was seeing these different articles, and they're usually, in the sort of digital landscape, right? Whenever we watch videos, it happens on both sides, but I get more conservative videos that pop up on my feed because I watch more conservative videos. Largely because I've been a conservative the majority of my life. Since I've been aware of it, I've been a conservative. I've never really been a liberal, but I didn't really vote that much either. My values were more conservative, and so I care more about that than I do liberal values. But I also critique conservatives also more than I do liberals because I feel like conservatives have the moral high ground. That's where we come from. We're usually evangelical Christian, and we kind of have this moral high ground. And yet I see us acting immoral. And I think it's, I call it out more than the left. The left is kind of like low-hanging fruit to me in some senses. So I don't always attack them. So people may think that I'm woke or on the left or whatever. And I'm actually probably more conservative than you. But I'm actually more balanced. I try to stay balanced because I think that's the most biblical. That's Ephesians 5:11. But anyway, so I was seeing these videos, Candace Owens is braver than most pastors. And I was like, really? Okay, where is this coming from? And I kind of knew because I know Candace Owens' style. She's aggressive. She will attack you. She will insult you. She's very quick. She's very confident. So I kind of got the gist. But so I was like, all right, let me see what they're talking about. And so it was basically Candace Owens, in an interview with Don Lemon got fired from CNN. He was just wilding. He got, I think, rightly fired from CNN. And so people, Candace, I think he had Candace Owens on his show. I mean, obviously that's going to be ratings for him. He knows Candace Owens is a firecracker. So she's an M80, bro, or something bigger than that, right? So he has her on the show, and obviously he's a gay man that's going to talk about that. It's going to come up. And at one scene, Candace Owens told him, I think your marriage to your husband is sinful. She's going in, right? And that's her thing. Like, she's bold and all this stuff. But so I get that people say she's braver than most pastors. I think that's kind of a misnomer. And I'm going to explain what I mean in a little bit. But I think there's this way that we talk now today. A couple of years ago, Strack and I on Cross Examine did an episode called The Myth of the Monolith. And I think we were prophetic when we said that. Because now, today, when people talk, we always talk about groups of people like they're monolithic. Like, to say Candace Owens is braver than most pastors. Well, there are millions of pastors out there. And most pastors don't have a platform. You never heard of them. They don't have a YouTube channel. They don't have any of these things. And they stand for biblical truth. They just don't have the platform. So if you want to say Candace Owens is braver than most pastors whom you see on your feed, okay, cool. But to stop it at pastors and put pastors in this monolithic category of people who are unafraid to challenge people who are living a lifestyle that is sinful, I think is part of the problem. And we'll address that a little bit more later. So, but I was like, okay. And so, I kind of, if I'm being honest with you, I try to be fair and try to be balanced, but I'm a human being. Sometimes I just get tired of people saying and doing something. I just think like, can we be honest about some things? So let's have an honest moment. So we're going to watch real quick. We're going to watch what Candace Owens said about one of my main problems with Candace Owens. One of my main issues with her is what she says in this portion of her video. So she's explaining, walking through her video with Don Lemon and what happened between them. And she's going to explain that he was sticking up for Jewish persecution, but then mocked Christian persecution. And she was like, and I lost it. She said, I rarely lose my cool, which I don't know if I would agree with that. I see Candace Owens go hard a lot, but to each his own. So here's what she said. Let's watch this real quick. And I'm going to tell you my concern for this. All right. Because I think if you're going to say she's braver than most pastors and stuff like that, cool. I think I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if anyone knows that's true, but that's the way we talk today. But I thought this video, it kind of irritated me if I'm being honest. And and irritability can be sinful. So I wasn't trying to sin, but I was struggling with this video. But let's watch it real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I'm sure I'm wrong here. This is Candace Owens explaining what happened with Don Lemon at this portion of her interview.
And so they've taken that out of context, and Don Lemon was doing it and going, my Jewish friends and we're so hurt by this. I struggled with the decision of whether or not to let you on here. And then I'm not even kidding. You're going to watch this. This is unbelievable. I then am speaking to him about Christians being persecuted, and he laughs in my face at the concept of Christian persecution. And I lost my cool. Take a listen. It's not about the Holocaust, okay? Christians suffered too. In fact, we are the most persecuted religion in the world. And I am so sick of it. I am so sick of there can only be one victim narrative.
Candace,
and if you start talking about
a Christian, and we are
Christians
not the most persecuted in the world.
That is a fact. What are you saying? We're not the most persecuted religion in the world. Do you know what's happening in Armenia? Do you know what's happening in Nigeria? Do you know what just happened in Canada? The fake story that was propagated by all of the mainstream networks about the nuns, and they found the mass burial, which allowed 85 Catholic churches to be burned to the ground in the last 3 years in Canada. We are still being persecuted right now. So I take great offense to you coming in here about the sensitivities of the people that are working on your show when I'm sitting here telling you that I'm a Christian and I'm offended by what you're saying, and you laugh, you mock Christian persecution. Do you think it's acceptable to laugh when someone tells you about Christian persecution? Because let me tell you something, if I had done that, if I had laughed about the Holocaust, I would be chased out of polite society. Then don't laugh.
So here's what's interesting. Here's the things that's interesting. Candace Owens saying I'm a Christian. Don Lemon said I'm a Christian, right? He said I'm a Christian. We're not the most persecuted group. So, well, let me let it finish.
Don't laugh. laugh at Christian persecution. Don't do it.
Laughable mean that the name is in the term. It's
do
laughable.
not laugh. You literally just laughed when I talked about Christian persecution. Don't do that ever again. Not in my presence. And that is exactly how I felt. And I just wanted people to hear that because I am so sick of this.
All right. So see this vibe of like her saying, you know, don't you laugh, don't do this again in my presence. Like, I'm just being honest because I say the same thing. I was praying earlier today and said almost identically what I'm going to say about Candace. I said about myself to the Lord. Like, who is Candace Owens that you're demanding in your presence people can't talk a certain way, but yet you get to talk however you want, what you say, whatever you want, whatever tone you want. And I think so many believers are rallying behind this. And she said she's a Christian, right? But then when she used the Canada reference, she talked about a conspiracy against these nuns, this false, and then the Catholic Church, and 85 churches were Catholic churches, right? And so there's this rhetoric, and then this happens. Let's keep going real quick. Let's keep going. I want you to see this, and then this happens. This is what happens then.
I am so sick of people mocking Christians. They're just so comfortable doing it. He literally laughed when I started talking about Christian persecution, when I was saying that my episode was not about the Holocaust. I was talking about the German Christians who were mass murdered following the war, who had absolutely nothing to do with Hitler and nothing to do with Nazis. And I talked about how it is okay for us to talk about other persecutions.
I agree.
Because Christians are persecuted. And he laughed. The audacity of that. And I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he did it because people need to see that. People need to understand that the mainstream media has, I guess, such a lack of respect for Christians because we're always supposed to be nice. That's what they do. And they'll even,
All right. So a couple things here, right? First of all, can I just say this to my true believers? I don't even want to use the word Christian anymore sometimes. To my fear of the Lordians. Jesus already told us in John 15, 18 through 27, if the world hates you, remember that it hated me first. Why does the world need to see this? Like we know that people laugh. Like John Lemon's lifestyle already disqualifies him as a believer. We understand that. Like, I don't need anyone, Candace or anyone, to show me that the world and the media, we already know that. Like, Jesus told us that before media, before America existed. Like, Christians are deceived if we think that the world is supposed to admire us. I don't need to see that. I already know that that's true. Jesus said, if they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. No servant is greater than his master. If anyone is watching this live or later and believes that believers are somehow exempt from persecution, this is probably why, 2 Timothy 3:12, indeed, all who desire to live a godly life will be persecuted. I don't need Candace Owens to prove that to me. But that's not my main issue. I'm just giving here. Let's get to my main issue. Here, let me give it a couple more seconds. And let me give you my main issue, right?
Oh, you're a good little Christian. You're not acting like a good little Christian. I hate when I see this, by the way, people that are not Christians who use this line. Like, you're not behaving like a good little Christian, as if they've used our Bible to subjugate us. Let me remind you how to be a good little Christian while we insult you and why we violate every single tenet that you guys believe in. Let me remind you about how you should react to me as I am insulting you. We have to stop allowing for that. And I am not kidding. Like, when that moment
All right. So this is my second greatest issue with her, right? I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see that. This is my second greatest issue with her. We don't have to stop allowing people to do that. We're believers. Like, we're not, so the world is going to be the world. Like, she is taking up arms and offenses. That's not what we do. It doesn't mean, like, I don't care if people talk about you need to be a good little Christian. Like, we need to demonstrate the fruits of the Spirit. That's what honors the Lord. And people do get that confused. The world does get it confused. Like, listen, I'm an ex-gangster, right? I was a dude who shot at people, shot back. I got locked up. I was facing 43 years in prison. All right. Like when I'm trying to be humble, it's not because I'm soft, it's because I'm trying to imitate the Lord. My disposition would be like, man, I'll smack this dude in his mouth just to make a point, right? But when we don't do that. I'm not antagonistic. I'm not fighting against you, because 1 Peter 2 says when he was reviled, he didn't revile in return. Romans 12 tells us to not be overcome by evil. Candace Owens is overcome by evil, and she thinks that she's more of Barabbas the zealot than she is a disciple of Jesus, in my opinion, because she's trying to rally you to be offended. And I'm not saying we should let people do whatever. Like if I'm walking down the street and somebody attacks my sons, I'm not going to just stop and pray for them while they beat my sons. Their life might end, or my life might end trying to defend my family. I understand that. But I think this whole idea of like Don Lemon laughing is somehow something to be angry at. Man, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. If you can't handle that truth, then you're not really a disciple, I think. You're more theological. You're more a zealot. I think there's a difference. We have a lot of zealots now. We have a lot of Barabbas was a zealot. We have a lot of people that want to fight against the establishment. They want the establishment to die, then praise the Lord who died for the establishment. Like we have to figure out what's the real balance here. What's the real biblical response? The real biblical. But then this is the last thing on this, and then I'm moving on from Candace Owens. Here was the last thing that I thought, this is my issue with this kind of stuff. Here's my last, and you can feel free to disagree. I don't care if you disagree. It is what it is. You don't have to like and subscribe. I get it, but I'm not going for it. I'm going for what the Bible teaches. So she's been talking about being a Christian, them taking our Bible and doing this, and then this happens.
Happened. I was like literally about to put him in timeout. Like I was treating him like he was my son. And I was very serious when I said, do not ever do that in my presence. And I hope that I give other people the permission to do that, because
I give other permission to do that. What fruit of the Spirit is that? Like, this is what I mean. Like a lot of conservatives, they get, but we watch these people, man, because they got platforms that we get fight, because it appeals to me. It appeals to my nature to be like, man, who are you talking to like that? But what fruit of the Spirit is that? I give other people permission. Candace, you are not the Lord. We don't need your permission to act a certain way, all this stuff. But that's not even my main issue. This is it.
It is not going to change until we demand that it changes, because he would have never, like I said, ever done that in the presence of a person that was Jewish talking about their persecution. He would have never laughed. I do not believe he would have ever done it in the presence of a Muslim talking about their persecution. It is Christians that are considered a laugh out loud joke all across the world. And there's a reason for that. And we'll get into.
And Jesus was considered a laugh out loud joke. And look at who he was and what he did. Your example is the Lord, not Candace Owens' frustrations about the way Christians are treated.
Into those reasons later, not today. Anyways, that interview, as Team Last told us, is going to be premiering in its entirety. They're sharing clips right now, but on Monday. Hopefully they drop it sooner. I think they should, because there's a lot more gems. There's even, he does the obligatory thing. A strange one for him to pick. It's a clip of Nick Fuentes. Anyways, you're not going to want to miss it, so be in its entirety. And speaking of Christianity, if you are thinking about the faith, if you are thinking that maybe you are being compelled to go into the Bible, there's no better place to begin that than with Hallow. It is summer, and like many of you, I intend to spend more time with my family, getting outside, traveling, and letting go of some of the routine. But one routine that I will not be letting go of is my prayer routine. I'll be continuing my daily habit of prayer with Hallow, the #1 prayer app in the world.
All right, so this is going to shock you, but we've arrived at my greatest concern. All right, here's my greatest concern for so Hallow. I went and looked at the app. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I went and looked up the app Hallow, and Hallow, here's what it describes itself as in App Store. It says Hallow prayer and meditation. It's a purple, right? So I don't know if you can see this very well. It's a purple joint, right? This is the app. It's purple. And it says Daily Rosary and Catholic Bible. So that's what Hallow is. All right. So some of you may be offended at this, and I don't mean to offend, but people get offended at the wrong thing, at anything. So Here's my biggest beef with Candace Owens right now. Is like, and I think we need to be careful of this. Catholics are not Christians. She went on the whole tirade about Christian persecution, Christian attacking our Bibles, we're Christians, we're this. And then she acknowledges, then she talks about, we know she's Catholic, but she keeps saying Christian. I don't know why she won't say Catholic. Catholics are Catholics for a reason. Christians are Christians for a reason. Now, some of you may not care about that. I do, because I think Catholicism and Protestant Christianity are two different things. Now, depending on what your denomination is, you might have some of the traditions, you know, some of the Orthodox traditions may have it, but I don't think they're the same thing. They're not. Like, so when I open the app and it's like daily rosary, I'm not praying the rosary. I don't play the rosary. I'm not Catholic. My Bible is different. Yes, there are things that are true, but there are fundamental differences between Catholic and Christian. And they're not the same. I do not believe they're the same. And I'm not saying that genuine Catholics aren't true believers. That's not what I'm saying. But they're fundamental differences. I mean, there may be less differences between like Mormons and Jehovah's Witness who claim some kind of connection to Christ. Even Islam claims that Christ is a prophet, right? But they're just not. I would just say Catholics, because when she says Christians, that's a buzzword. And many of us think, okay, she's a Christian, but then when you see her interact, there is a lack of the fruits of the Spirit. But those fruits of the Spirit should be in the Catholic Bible as well. So I don't think they're the same. I don't. Just like I don't think saying I'm sorry and please forgive me are the same thing. I don't think it's semantics. I think Catholics, I call people who are Catholics for a reason, because then I know what you actually believe, right? That's the one benefit of labels. If you say, well, I'm a Muslim, then I can get some semblance of what you believe, just in generalities. Now, you may have derivatives of Islam that you agree with that are different. Okay, fine. But I can get some semblance of what you believe. When you say Christian, okay, I don't think Catholic ever do I think Catholic. Now, maybe you do. I don't. You're a Catholic, Candace. You're not a Christian in the traditional sense. You're not. There was a split that we can trace back to the Reformation. You're not a Christian. You're a Catholic. You pray the rosary. You pray the saints. Okay, fine. This isn't even about is that wrong or right. I just think what you do is you create this ecumenical reality that we're all the same, and we're just not. We're not. We're not. And if that, you can think different on that, that's fine. I do not think we're all the same. I do not. I do think genuine Catholics are believers, and I think some professing Christians are not believers, right? But we're not the same. They have totally different things, totally different doctrines, totally different ways they approach their relationship with the Lord. And I just wish that she would say, I'm a Catholic. You're not defending Christians, you're defending Catholics. Catholics. That's what Candace Owens is. So I just think that stuff is kind of wild to me. And I wish that she would own that, because I think that's what we really need to see. All right. Is Candace braver than most pastors again? I don't know. I mean, if I was given the platform, I'd tell Don Lemon the same thing, man. Listen, nobody's scared of, listen, if you're a genuine believer in Jesus Christ, yes, we struggle with fear of man and different things. But at the end of the day, like, we serve the Lord, man. The Lord said that heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. So Satan's kingdom, he's the God of this world, 2 Corinthians 4, right? Is God's footstool. Like, we've seen people who are ex-Satanists, ex-witches and warlocks come out of that to become Christians. And they talk about, man, we tried to cast spells on these Christians and couldn't touch them. And we figured out what's going on. Listen, bro, no one's scared of the enemy, man. Like, if you want to take my YouTube channel, take it, fam. Like, my life is not connected to my freedoms as a Christian. My life is connected to the biblical commandments that are afforded me because of Jesus' sacrifice. If you take my freedoms, will I be uncomfortable? Yes, I won't like it. But my faith persecution is not going to stop me, bro. Like, we got to stop acting like, oh, we need people to speak up for us and stand up for us. No, Jesus stood up for us when he died on the cross, family, when he rose from the dead. And he said, look, this is what's going to happen. He told us about wars and rumors of wars. I'm not flipping out about Ukraine and oh no, All this stuff for the believer is in the word, right? So we shouldn't tolerate that. All right. Next thing. All right, Donald Trump is now, when this first happened a couple days ago, which is my last video, I didn't want to say anything that I was really thinking because it just happened. I mean, I think it just came out, and I just decided to go live in that moment and just talk about it and just try to help us process that we got to honor the emperor and all that, and that we should be careful of choosing sides, because I said this is what's going to happen. Man, it didn't even take but a couple minutes, and immediately I was watching PBD podcast, Patrick David or whatever, and he claims to be a believer, but his podcast was talking about a civil war. Like this could have started a civil war. He was going in, right? And then I thought it was very irresponsible for him as a professing believer. And the Candace Owens, same thing. And here's how every video, this is how you know it was this. I've watched so many videos, and I can't even watch more than 30 seconds or a minute of them, because they all say stuff like this. Oh, the left, the loony left. We told y'all the left was going to try to, and the reason why I'm laughing is not because I don't think the left would try something like this. But here's what I was getting at earlier when I talked about the myth of the monolith. When you classify people as a group of people, right? It was immediately conservatives. The left tried to take them out. This could be a civil war. I mean, some of these people were professing Christians. Candace Owens, Patrick Bet-David. These are all, with big platforms, irresponsible. Like, don't follow these people. They're irresponsible. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. When you say the left tried to assassinate him, we know that Timothy Matthew Crooks, or whatever that's his name, Tim Matthew Crooks, was Thomas Matthew Crooks was a 20-year-old white dude who did this. All right, this is what we know, this fact. At least this is what we're being told is fact, right? We know that much. Here's what you've been hearing if you watch the conservative channels. He, at 17 years old, he donated to, this is what's all over the conservatives. This is their proof that at 17 years old, he made a $15 donation to Act Blue, a political action committee that raises money for Democratic and left-leaning politicians. So they'll say, see, he's the left. At 17, he gave a $15 donation, right? But why don't they tell you this, though? So when you're 17, you can't even vote yet. You're not, you have to turn 18 before you can actually register in the majority, if not all 50 states, right? So here's what they're not telling you. Maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody announce it. It's all, he's from the left. It's the left. It's the left. It's the left. He gave, and then they bring this up. He gave $15. Here's what they're also not telling you, though. That he is registered as a Republican. According to state voter records, Crooks was registered as a Republican voter. The upcoming November 5th, 2024 election would have been the first time Crooks was able to vote, all right? Let me tell you why this is important. Whether he was genuine or not, I don't know. But you're going to have people say, no, he wasn't. He gave this thing. Well, at 17 years old, he gave $15, right? But when he turned 18, when he was allowed to, why didn't he register as a Democrat? So let me guess. He had already known at 18 that he was going to register as a Republican so he could somehow get close to the president and shoot him. I mean, I'm sure that's something that some of these people would probably say, but how do you know that he would even know he had that chance? We don't know what his mental state was at 18. What we know from one of his high school teammates is that he was bullied a lot. And this is what that, we know what that bullying produces, right? But he registered as a Republican at 18. So we don't know that $17. You're young, you change your mind a lot. He's a registered Republican according to state voter registration. But you're only here, oh, he gave $15, so he's on the left. This is what I mean. This is why you can't really, listen, we're in America, you're going to vote your conscience. But I'm begging you as a believer, if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, vote your conscience, but don't lose your conscience for a vote. I don't care what these people say. I don't care who's in the comments section. You can say whatever you want. If it's negative about what I'm saying, I don't care. We follow Jesus. Listen to what people say and ask yourself this question. Practice discernment. What fruit of the Spirit is that? God cares more about you demonstrating fruits of the Spirit than he does some zeal towards a candidacy or towards people not mocking you for Christian persecution. It's at the end of the day, you're going to be evaluated for what character of the Spirit did you have? Not what did you do? You can let you do a lot of things. These people said, Lord, we did all this in your name. I said, I don't know you. Why? Because you didn't have the character of grace, right? So what I'm hearing is, this dude is a registered Republican. And this would have been, I don't know what happened to him. He was, okay, but he's registered. And that's after. So he gave money to the Democrats at 17, but at 18, he didn't register as a Democrat. He registered as a Republican. That's crazy. But here's the problem with what I think, the real issue that I was getting about monolithic. When you say the left tried to assassinate Donald Trump, who is the left to you? Who are you talking about? Are you saying that the millions of people in this nation that vote Democrat, that's the left? Are you saying that millions of people conspired to kill Donald Trump and hired and somehow convinced that 20-year-old kid to do it? Is that what you're saying the left is? Or are you saying the left, did the politicians, did they somehow have a secret meeting with him and convince him to do this? Did they say, is that what you mean by the left? Or are you saying the left, what, did Joe Biden do that? And his staff, did they do this? Did the White House staff do this? They set this up? Like, what do you mean by the left, fam? Like, name a name, say this person. The FBI? Oh, the FBI. The Secret Service dropped the ball. How do you go to a place where the president's going to speak? The Secret Service shows up days before and assesses everything. They talk to neighbors. They do all of it. They find out all the pressure points. You didn't see that there was a school right there, less than 200 yards away? I mean, that, to me, I didn't want to say it seems like a conspiracy or a setup when the first day it dropped, but now that other people saying it, it just doesn't add up to me. Let me show you out. Let's watch this video real quick. I want to show you this. Listen to what happened here. Let's watch this video. Watch what they say right here.
Hey, Anna, we're actually waiting right now, momentarily, any moment, to get an update from senior FBI officials into this investigation. So I don't have any of that to report out at this point yet. But what we are learning, and this is pretty big according to some of the latest reporting coming out on this, several law enforcement officials are telling the AP that a local officer actually encountered the shooting suspect on the top of that building that he's accused of shooting from, climbed up onto the roof. This was after being...
Wait. So you saw the guy on the roof across from where Trump was standing, and you just allowed him to be there on the roof across from where Trump was standing, like direct line of sight. Is that what he just said here, guys? I hope not. Is he still working as an officer?
That he's accused of shooting from, climbed up onto the roof. This was after being flagged down by bystanders who saw that suspect climb up there. And that officer apparently went up onto the roof, and the suspect pointed his rifle at the officer, and that officer reportedly retreated, giving the suspect the opportunity to shoot his rifle at former President Trump. So that is one of the big things that we are learning. That's
cop. Did you have?
So listen. So these are all the facts that are coming out. Now here's, if you're on the left, if you were a part of Black Lives Matter, here's the logic. Here's what you're going to hear if it's probably being said already. I'm a little bit behind because I'm been traveling and not been paying attention, and I'm 3 hours back. I'm a little behind, but here's what you're probably going to hear people say. Oh, if he were black, though, they would have arrested him right away. And they're going to make it that thing. First of all, listen, whenever you hear speculative statements like that, maybe they would have, but you just don't know. And what difference does it make? He still shot them. Who cares, fam? But that's what people would do. Oh, if he were black, then they would have arrested him. He would have never had that chance. And so now it becomes a white privilege reality. I don't know what the cop was thinking. But something's not right to me. Something's not right. Something is not right about this situation. And there's more I feel like saying, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to do what I'm accusing other people what I'm telling people they shouldn't do. So I don't want to be reckless. But something's not right about this whole thing. And something's not right. But I just think I'm glad people are pointing this out because we're just kind of like sharper a little bit these days and more sensitive. But I just think something's not right. I think, yeah, I don't know. Something's not right. Something's not right. And I'm just going to leave it at that because the Lord is not letting me say it and I ain't going to go against the grain. Something's not right. All right, let's keep the party going. All right, so the comment section has kind of calmed down, right? But a couple days ago, I did a video on Jackie Hill Perry made a statement about she was asked a question by a guy who runs Rapzilla, and he said about lyricism in CHH, who are your top 5? And she said there's not much lyricism in CHH. And people got really upset. I did a video basically saying, why are people upset at her saying that? It's just her opinion. And I was saying that in the video, I said, the guy gave her props like, oh, you're one of the top pens in the game. And maybe so, but I said, I think she has good music. She reminds me of Lauryn Hill, like 96, Fuji's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill era, that 96. She can rap. But I just said, that's such a subjective thing to say like this and that. On her last album, Crescendo, she had a song with like Braille, Ambassador, Shylin, and The Truth, right? So she could have just said, well, they could spit, but she might have been thinking, well, currently these guys aren't really rapping right now. And so she named a couple people that she thought, right? So I just said that, and I said, I don't think anyone's opinion should be, including my own, should be taken with such esteem that you're offended when certain things are not communicated. And I said that I think that for Jackie Hill Perry in the evangelical church, largely the white side of things, that they're not looking at her for her rap acumen. Her entry point to them was the fact that she was a former lesbian that's now married and all of this stuff. And that's the draw for them. Man, some people in the comment section said I was trying to throw shade on her and all this stuff. And I was just like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Like, I just think, I don't know if it sounds arrogant when you say this, but sometimes it's just true. Like, I don't care enough about Jackie Hill Perry or anybody's opinion that I got to throw shade on them. Like, it didn't affect me at all. Like when I have people who like my music and I wasn't offended at all. I just, hey, I think Jackie Hill Perry's music is okay. But like I said, I don't even think her music will translate today because she just raps. So if you're from that era, you're like, but you can't even do good punchlines when you rap like that because it's not about what you're saying as much as how you're delivering it and the rapidity of what you're saying. And I brought up Lil Wayne as an example where he was popular because he wasn't real lyrical, but his punchlines, you could hear them and they connected with you. So people were getting offended at me. And I felt like I had to push back in some comments. And then I think Jackie Hill Perry basically said what I said in an interview with Lecrae. She attested to what I was talking about. Like, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but I don't just say stuff just because I'm trying to rile people up or whatever. I think deeply about a lot of stuff. And I've been in the evangelical world and behind the scenes in ways that people don't even know. Like some of y'all just finding out who Kirk Kennedy is. I've been around from Voice to Kirk Kennedy. I've been around for 18, 19 years. I came out in 2005 with my first album. I've been around for almost 20 years. I know a lot of movers and shakers. I have a lot of conversations behind the scenes. I know what's going on. So when I make these statements, people think I'm just saying stuff because I was hating. Listen to what Jackie Hill Perry says right here in this interview. Listen to what Lecrae says, and listen to what she says right here. And then I hope the people who said I was hating because I said that the evangelical church wanted her to talk about not being gay, and that was the draw for them. I hope the people that are watching listen to what she said. These are her words, not mine. You can watch the whole video yourself. Listen to what she says here.
And this is how I felt. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about this earlier. I felt personally like because within the Reformed evangelical circles, there were not a lot of Black faces. I don't think I was taken advantage of by some, because I love Dr. Keller. John Piper ain't show me none but love. But I do think that there were some people who were like, shoot, this is our shot, you know? And I was an echo chamber for a lot of folks.
For sure.
Instead of a voice that they, you know, would have said, oh, we need to respect your voice and let you into our spaces and places. Like, has that been your experience?
Yeah, I'm sure when I came along, it was like, we got a Black girl who's theologically solid. She's married.
Yeah.
She got kids. She's advocating for them. Like, of course, they saw me and was like, absolutely, we'll give you our stages.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll give you our publishing contracts. Absolutely. But God forbid you start talking about justice.
That part.
You're a woke warrior now, ma'am.
That part.
We loved you. We absolutely adored you when you were telling all of our kids to stop being gay. But now you over here saying that Black people matter?
Okay, listen to what Jackie Hill Perry just said. All right. We loved you when you were over here telling our kids to stop being gay. But now, this is basically the point that I was making, is that in the broader evangelical world, her influence, and they were inviting her to speak at conferences, was because she was formerly gay, she's married, she's Black woman, she was and it was the same thing that happened with Rosario Dawson. Like, they kind of like this, there was a point where it was like almost like they both, you would have thought they got converted together, where Rosario Dawson, a former lesbian, she's now a pastor's wife and and she was giving insight. She was on the Gospel Coalition. It's always that, right? And I get it, because among evangelicals, that's like an area of sin where we feel like people just don't come out. Like, we almost act as if God isn't saving people in that who have that sin issue. So when you see people come out and they're bold and they're real, that's what they're talking about. But Jackie Hill Perry said it. She said the very thing. So it's like, I'm not saying that, everything I say can't be tested or pushed back on. Please feel free. But like, when you start using terms like hating and stuff, or someone said that I gave her compliments that were fake, like, you're calling me a liar. You're basically saying I am sinning by giving her compliments because I'm trying, man, get out of here, fam. Number one, you don't even know me enough to make that type of statement. Number two, that's a serious accusation. And number three, how come Jackie Hill Perry can give her opinion and then you're defending that, but then when I give an opinion about her opinion, I'm hating? Why was she not hating by not naming Shylin, Braille, The Truth, Ambassador, whoever else, other Lecrae, Tripp, Kirk Kennedy, Strack, Evangel? Why ain't she? There's a bunch of that. So to me, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're so shallow. We are creek water Christianity. We're so shallow that we so imitative of the world. We get so offended when you touch our anointeds. Listen, I'm going to touch all of them. I'm going to rub oil on their faces if I need be, because so many people are so offended at that. I wasn't denigrating Jackie Hill Perry. She's done a lot of great things for the kingdom. I'm grateful for that woman, but I don't sweat her. I don't think her opinion matters so much that if she says, ain't no lyricist, then I'm like, oh man, I guess everything I've been doing or guys that I know, it's for nothing. Like, nah, this is her. I just think that stuff is wild. But we live in a culture, like Christians, like believers, fear the Lordians. Please hear me, because even with my own, what I say, like, I don't matter in the grand scheme. If I'm not saying what's true, it's biblical true, I don't matter. Who am I? I am nothing. It doesn't matter the platform, right? It matters the person and the character. What matters is the character of that person. Who does that person imitate? And who is that person telling you to imitate? That's what matters. That's what matters. Who is the person imitating, and who are they telling you to imitate? That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is you either like them or you don't. Listen, I'm a flawed man, right? I'm a flawed man, but I try to be faithful. There's anyone who watches these streams. If there are people at my church, I don't even promote my channel at my church. People just find out about it. I don't even be like, hey, go watch. I don't say nothing. I got a couple hundred members. I don't say nothing. Some people know it and they watch it, they subscribe, and sometimes they comment. They may comment here. They know I'm the same dude right now. I'm the same dude at church. I'm the same dude at home. My boys, they see the same dude. Like, I try to be authentic because that's what it's about, being real. Jesus was the same, but you got to learn how to move and shake. Sometimes you say this in this situation. Sometimes you say this. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But it's like this whole idea that, like, because someone's popular, like if you say something, critique them. Like, man, I'll critique Jackie Hill. She'll critique me. Who cares, man? Like, people just be wilding. And I think you do a disservice to yourself, because it doesn't hurt me for you to tell me that I'm hating in the comment section, because I know I'm not, number one. The Lord knows I'm not. And then Jackie Hill Perry said it herself. She said, oh, they don't have no problem when you tell people stop being gay. But once you say, and that was my point. That was the point that I was getting at. I think the evangelical church has in many ways used Black people to promote an agenda. But when Black people challenged some of those things, then you became woke. You became a social justice warrior. It was like, oh, so all the things that the things that you care about are biblical, but the things that we're concerned about, they're not. The church shouldn't get involved in those, right? And I just think it's so stupid. And it's like, do you honestly think the Lord really thinks that way? Do you honestly think the Lord doesn't see the hypocrisy in that? This is what I don't get. Like, what do people think is going to happen when we stand before the Lord? I don't know what people are thinking. Like, it is not going to be like, it's going to be a scary moment, because if we're being honest, there's not a person in this world that can stand before the Lord apart from Jesus and say, I don't deserve to go to hell. My righteousness was greater than my sinfulness. There is not a person who can say that. Look, I've said this before. I'm going to end with this. I've said this to you before, but if you really want to understand the grace of God and how sinful you are, do this one math exercise, all right? I've said this before. Do this math exercise, all right? Imagine you sin just once a day. One time a day, that's all you sin. You know you don't, but let's just imagine once in a day, all right? James tells us that if you break in one commandment, you've broken them all. So all 10, right? Let's say the 10 commandments. So you sin once a day, right? And that's 10 times a day. That's all you sin, just 10 times a day. And I'm saying just as if that's not a lot, all right? In the course of a year, you will sin 3,650 times, because there's 365 days in a year times 10. That's 3,650. So you sin 3,650 times, all right? Multiply that number by your age, all right? So if you're 25 years old, you have 91,250 sins against the Lord. All right. If you're 30 years old, you have 109,500 sins against the Lord. If you're 40 years old, you have 146,000 times you sinned against the Lord, right? If you're 50 years old, my calculator's wilding right now. 182,500 in sins against the Lord. All right. Now, whatever your age is, so you got one time a day, one sin a day, times 10, because you break the whole law according to James. By the year, multiply that 10 by the year, 365 days, right? So there's 33,650 sins every year you commit. Multiply that by your age. And then once you get that number, then imagine that that's the lowest amount of sins you ever commit. The lowest amount of sins you could have committed, because no one sins once a day. No one sins once a day, and then times 10. That's the lowest. So you want to talk about grace? You're supposed to go to heaven, and I've sinned millions of times in my lifetime. I've sinned against the Lord. You're not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. The only way we're getting in is because of Jesus. And because even though we sinned, we're trying to imitate. I'm not just putting my faith in Jesus. I'm putting my faith in trying to imitate the character of it. Putting your faith in the Lord is not just I believe that I'm not going to hell when I die. It's I am trying to live the way he said live. I'm trying to actually imitate the dude in the way that I carry myself. And over time, by the grace of God, we grow and get better and get better. So I don't think people realize like the Lord is not going to excuse the fruits of the Spirit because of my personality or what I was going through. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is who am I imitating and who am I telling other people to imitate? And I don't care how popular or how much you like a Christian influencer, who are they imitating and who are they telling you to imitate? Now, I'm grateful for Jackie Hill Perry. I think she's imitating the Lord and telling others to do the same. But please don't act like because someone disagrees with something she said, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. All right, let's go to the tape. There's a lot of comments here. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's the same person saying all this stuff, or well, I'm just going to skip because I don't got the time today. Yo, I'm praying for your health. Still have, yeah, I know, man. I don't know what this is the longest it's happened. It's not sore or anything. It's not like it hurts at all. It just sounds this way. So I don't know. Folks that haven't held the weight of the call shouldn't speak on what pastors should go through. 100%. I kid you not, Chris. And as a fellow brother who was a pastor, I think, man, this thing is getting on my nerves. It's not even bothering me. I'm just trying to clear it up so I sound different. But I hate when people try to tell pastors how they should pastor. And don't get me wrong. If you know the Bible, you have biblical justification to say some things. But they have no idea what we go through, brother. Think about this. The enemy is going to attack the men, the pastors who lead the churches, because if there's a downfall in us, it will affect greater people. I think I heard a brother say this in a sermon a couple days ago, that sometimes the devil will let men get big platforms just so that they can take them down because it will affect more people. And you know why? Because the devil knows that people often don't place their faith in Jesus. They place their faith in people who tell you about Jesus. Let me be emphatically clear. I say this to my church and I'll say it to you. Do not place your faith in what you perceive to be my relationship with the Lord. I could be a fraud. By the grace of God, I am not. But I could be a fraud. You should never lose your faith if your pastor fails, because your faith is not in your pastor. Listen, my church loves me. I'm grateful for them. They're grateful. I love my church, and I'm grateful that they love me. Some of you all are fond of me in the way I could. Thank you. And I'm grateful for that. But I am not the Lord, obviously. And if I were to fall in some way, your faith, if it falls and it wasn't in the Lord, there's a difference between my faith is in the people who tell me about the Lord and my faith is in the Lord. I'm not falling because other people do. I'm not caving if my kids walk away from the faith by the grace of God, and you shouldn't either. Don Lemon thankfully self-indicated himself as a false Christian by saying essentially there's no God to be feared. 100%. 100%. V-O. My goodness. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is incredible. Even though YouTube be faking, YouTube be giving out this money, I could use that $50 right now. But no, hey, listen, Bill, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I wonder if her pastors had to tell her to be quiet at church. Candace Owens ain't going to be quiet. Because if you're talking about Candace Owens, because she is, she's, according to her, don't talk like that in my presence. Man, Candace Owens, who are you for real? Like, you nobody that I'll say whatever I want in your presence. That's the sin nature in me, that ex-gangster that would be like, man, who are you talking to like that? Like, you ain't nobody to me that I can't, But again, I just think that's just my own weakness. I wonder if her pastor had to tell her to be quiet. Yeah. I don't know if her husband deals. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe she's different with him. I don't know. Nice and long suffering isn't the same. Well said, brother. Well said. Yeah, Pastor Kerr. She didn't tell us something we didn't know. 100%. Like, I don't. What do you mean? Like, I don't know, man. But you know what though? Sadly, there are a lot of Christians that don't know their Bibles, man. They think persecution is like this new thing. They think it's the left. It's the media. Huh? I don't understand it, man. True that. Yeah. Oh, that was a nervous laugh anyway. Well said. BJ. My dude. Appreciate you, BJ. Thank you, man. Thank you for that, man. She shows fruits of strife. I mean, honestly, bro, I would think so. I think she does. And that's why I said, Christians, I'm telling you, man, more believers want Barabbas more than they want Jesus. That's just real. Permission, borderline heresy, carry the gear a second mile, not permission to throw. Yeah, 100%, man. And my whole thing is like, look, man, don't get me wrong. If you like her, you like her. I'm glad she encourages you. You like seeing people stand up to the left or to the world, fine. But don't make her being like, she's not the standard. Jesus is. I think she calls herself being like Ben Shapiro or Muslims defending their faith. But as Christians, we are called to be different. It's hard to speak faith through. It is. I don't do it. I do not do it, Vio. Well said, Chris. Facts. Bro, Kurt, facts. 100%. Heaven's full of sinners, bro. 100%. That's the Jesus we serve. You seem to have pretty good discernment, man. I've been watching to see if you're real, and I believe you are. Keep it up. Uncle Snacks, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I try to be real. I mean, if I'm not, the Lord will tell me, but I'm not out here playing, though. The stuff I say, I really believe in, and I try to live it. And my kids, if they wake up, they could testify to it. But I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. LOL, right. That wasn't even a left. This kid who was, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, this kid, like, I mean, listen, he was bullied. He just, that happens, man. But he registered as a Republican. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at this comment. GH, well said. At 17, you'll do anything for go. 100%, bro. That dude could have had a crush on a girl, but look how the media will take it. Oh, he donated $15. $15 at 17. You can't do nothing at 17. My son is almost 17. That $15 don't mean nothing. But they'll keep talking about the left. To Kansas, you keep using the word Christian. I don't think well said. 100%. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. He was a conservative since 8th grade, said his classmates, and stood by himself and everybody was a lib. This is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I could be wrong. Because I haven't watched a lot. I've been traveling and spending time with my boys, so I haven't been on YouTube and watching. But what I've seen, I haven't seen nobody acknowledge that. It's all theological. It's the left. It's like, man, VO said it. Politics is their guy, 100%. Appreciate that, Pulse. He probably didn't even know the difference between the two. He probably didn't. He might not have. But he registered as a Republican, though. Well, no, I would disagree with that. Let me tell you why. Because he gave $15 to, we don't know why. I mean, we joked about it could have been for a girl. We don't know why he gave the $15. But we don't know that. We don't know what he didn't. He didn't know the difference. That the reality is he registered as a Republican, and Republicans need to say that. Stop making it the left as if like, and who is the left? What left? Are you saying the Secret Service is working with the left? Is that Trump has all these people that work for the left? Is that what it is? Like, I just think that stuff is just crazy. Political leaders is their Messiah. The Constitution is their Bible. 100% theological. I've been saying theological and polychristians for like the last 7 years, and now people are really starting to see it. It's really interesting. Anyone not in independent fundamental Baptist, I just said the same thing as the left, 100%. And the building had local cops in it, very strange. I just think it's wild. Pastor Curry, you got a great take with monolithic category. Man, brother, that's all that they do. That's all that they do. It's the left, it's the right, it's the sexual LGBTQ, it's this people, it's the black, but it's all monolithic. And I think that's not how God deals with people. Yes, he'll judge nations. But if God does that, he's God. He can do that. We're not called to do that. It's monolithic. I'm telling you, beware of monolithic language. When they say the left is, who do you mean? That could mean like half the country, fam. What left are you talking about? You know what's interesting too? Here's what's interesting. When Nancy Pelosi's husband got attacked, when he got attacked with that guy in his house with the hammer, I watched a lot of conservatives laugh at that joint. Some of the same conservatives who were talking about civil war because of Trump, they laughed at that. That's still a very prominent congresswoman's husband who got attacked in their home, and they laughed at it. I remember that, and I thought, like, wow. I mean, I just thought, man, these people just be wilding. They laughed at that joint. They laughed at it. It's just crazy to me, man. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this case here has many questions. And this, man, what word is they deny request for more Secret Service? Man, it was sus. But who was that? The left though? Was it the left that did it? What about? Yeah, no, man. If he was black, LOL. Don't say it, but it's strange, brother. Yeah, because black people, first of all, black people, we wouldn't even try. We try to sneak the gun in and do it up close. We ain't really trying to shoot far away. Black people want that close up, you know. Yo, you're hitting everything today. I forgot. I meant to hit Caitlin Clark. I needed to hit her, but I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do it today. Richard, I appreciate you, bro. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you, bro. Thank God for lifting your spirit today. You feel yes. Physically, maybe not as much. I had some tacos last night. But yes, I am. My mom's doing a little bit better. But I think it's just my spiritual life because of just the Lord in general. Because my mom's still in the hospital. She's not out of ICU yet, but I'm grateful too. I think it's just good to travel, be with my boys in a different climate. About to go to the beach today, take them to the beach. I don't lay out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do out there, but Indie Tribe is dope. Yeah, I heard they are. No big deal. Yeah. No shade. I was watching that. Where she doesn't matter to nothing I'm involved in. Yeah. I feel that. Yeah, I discovered you in 2016 on Wrath and Grace. That's what's up, Grant. Yeah, I was part of Wrath and Grace for a little while. It was dope back then. I don't keep up with them now, so I'm not sure what they're doing. Romans 1, Christ-centric. Yeah, I think I know a dude who spit on that joint. I know a dude who spit on that Christ-centric project, the Romans 1 joint. I think I know that dude. I don't know how honest we can be, but folks know white Christian men are freaky sexual. Stay on sex, but don't do anything about. I'm not sure what that comment is in reference to. I'm not sure how to process that, but Flame, yeah, dope. Marcus is dope. Yeah, we were buddies some years back. Creekwater Christians. I stand by that statement, brother. I stand by it. I'm gonna have to skip through some of these because I got to get going. Yeah, older Flame stuff. Yeah. We put way too much stock in everything and everyone other than the 100% Grant. I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. Keep keeping it real, bro. Thank you, Pulse. I appreciate you. Tony. Thank you for that. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. I love JP's teaching and was not offended by it. Thank you, VO. Yeah, I don't think it was, maybe because you watch me enough and you know how I talk. Some of these people I think discovered me because maybe YouTube put it out there and then they saw the video and they just, you just read into what somebody's saying if they don't agree with what you think about the person. It's like, okay, all right, well, I guess that's just where we're at. I'll be praying for your health, your mom's health. Thank you. Next time, Venmo. Thank you, VO. Thank you. That's the joint you can get to right away, the Venmo. But I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you, VO. Thank you so much. They need to learn humility as well. I'm not sure who they is, but if I think what you're talking about, we all need it, right? So I would agree with that statement. Jules, where you been at, Jules? I ain't seen Jules in like about 8 months. Hope everyone's doing good to see you again, Jules. I'm in your area, Jules. I'm in San Diego, actually. I'm in San Diego until Thursday and then LA until Saturday. So I'm in your area. Whoa, very true about Nancy Pelosi attack. Kids think we're hypocrites because we go wishy-washy instead of standing in the uncomfortable truth and try to inform them. Yeah. I just think my buddy said, we're leaving now. I was like, shoot, we ain't left yet either. we're a little bit away. Which beach we're going to? I think we're going to, what's it called? The Marine. La Jolla Beach. La Jolla. Looks like La Jolla, but I think it's called La Jolla Beach. We're going there today to go hang out. We'll fly the drone and do some stuff. My dude, was it on Wrath and Grace or your own when you said that you made that Jolly Rancher sound good? Man, bro, that was me and Strack on Cross Examine, right? Man, a dude said like, man, Kerr, you make that, because I was eating a Jolly Rancher one time at the start of the show. I thought I could play it off, but I couldn't. So you could hear me eating the Jolly Rancher. You know, I mean, you sucked on the Jolly Rancher, right? And the dude was like, you make that Jolly Rancher sound good. And I was like, fam, if you ever say that to me again, you're going to bring out the old me. Don't talk to me like that, man. I don't want to hear that. I couldn't believe it, Grant. These dudes was wild. Wake up and smell it. Hit Villa's Taco when you're in LA. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try that Villa's Tacos. I'm sure there's a lot of good taco places, but we'll try that. God bless you and your family. Great message to me. Be like, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And the Falwells and others. Christian white men love to talk about sex between. I'm not sure. Man, that's a different stream, famo. I appreciate y'all. I got to get out of here. Thank you. I should probably, if I can, I'm going to get another stream in the night. But if I can't, then I'll get one definitely out tomorrow. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Last one. I'm in Texas. Oh, wow. I stepped away from everything for a bit. I lost my. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jules. Yeah, my mom's in the ICU now, and I'm battling that. But I'm sorry to hear that. Your videos have helped me keep me in this time. Thank you, Jules. I will be praying for you. Thank you. Jules actually visited my church back in like April, I think. Jules, you came around April from the West Coast. You would think you were in the DC area, and you visited my church. I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but I saw her. And I think your sister and mom, maybe, but. But Jules, we'll definitely be praying for you. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sorry to hear that, sister. Peace. All right. Out of here. Love y'all, man. See you soon.